Like most people my age, I grew up watching Cartoon Network constantly. It was always on in the house, and every time a new episode of one of my favorite shows would premiere on a Saturday morning, I would wake up early to watch it. Even though we could record it, I couldn't wait. I had to see it immediately. Justice League was my go-to, but Teen Titans was next in line. Despite going a long time without a rewatch, I remembered almost everything about Season 1, which I like more than most people seem to. I thought it was a pretty solid season of TV with a great villain, great character work, and surprisingly deep, mature themes. Season 2, which I remembered a decent portion of, took us to all new heights with the beautiful and devastating Terra storyline, leaving an emotional impact that is unmatched by almost anything, especially in cartoons. But it also had some huge missteps with the side episodes, so they ended up being essentially a wash for me. I have to be honest though, I remember almost nothing about Season 3. I think this is around the point where I started petering off, and I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it was because Slade was gone, but this season never really grabbed me like the first two did, which is unfortunate because it might actually be the best one yet, at least in terms of consistency. I vaguely remember the season opener, Jinx having a crush on Cyborg, and there's no way I could ever forget Haunted. But aside from that, this might as well have been a first-time watch for me, which is interesting. I'm not sure if that is a good or a bad thing. In a way, it does make me feel a bit underqualified to do a full in-depth analysis, but guess what? I'm going to do it anyway. On the flip side, though, I'm not really blinded by nostalgia, and I can analyze this one with fresh, adult eyes, so there are pros and cons to it. It also had me excited to find out where they would go with the story and characters. Will they address the Terra aftermath at all? How has that affected Beast Boy? Will Slade have a lasting effect after he's gone? What will Robin do without him? How will Starfire continue to try to integrate? Will they dive deeper into Raven's mental state and Cyborg's identity crisis? Who will be the focus character of this season? These are all questions I couldn't wait to get answers to. This is part 3 of my Teen Titans series analysis, where I go through the entire show, season by season, episode by episode, diving deep into the storylines, themes, and character arcs. Let's get started. The season opener is Deception. It opens with the Titans fighting the Hive members Gizmo, Jinx, and Mammoth. Haven't seen them in a while, at least as a team. Gizmo has popped up a few times. Cyborg has a new holographic generator that makes him look 100% human, and he uses that to go undercover to infiltrate the Hive and see what they're up to. He looks cool, but also kind of off-putting. I'm just not used to it at all. He makes quite an impression, dominating the practice arena and even saving his enemies in the process. The leader of this organization, Brother Blood, takes a shine to him, and Jinx has a crush on him, which is hilarious. Blood is voiced by John DiMaggio, who did a lot of stuff for Cartoon Network, including voicing General Grievous in the 2003 Clone Wars miniseries. Dude is a serious talent.
Brother Blood, at your service.
Cyborg finds out Brother Blood is building an ion amplifier, whatever the hell that is. Sounds scary, though. Blood tries to entice Cyborg to work with him with promises to completely restore his human body. Tough to turn that down. Cyborg being on the side of Gizmo and the others makes the final battle more interesting. It's 4-on-4 now, or rather 5-on-4 with the fake Cyborg. Brother Blood was unable to completely control Cyborg's mind because he's half robot, and Cyborg was playing him for a fool the entire time, saving the Titans in the end. This was a really solid start to the season. I quite enjoy the Cyborg-focused episodes, though one of my complaints with Only Human last season, despite enjoying it overall, was that it essentially repeated the same arc that he had in the sum of his parts in Season 1. What's so fascinating about this episode is that he kind of has the opposite arc. The two aforementioned episodes highlighted the importance of his human side, but this one reminded us that his robotic side can come in handy as well, which I thought was super interesting. He has a nice moment with Star at the end as well. She is such a sweetheart. To go along with that, we get some fun action. The Titans trying to get the fake Cyborg to work was really funny. We see some fun returning villains and get introduced to a very mysterious and compelling new one that I'm sure we'll see more of down the line. As far as season openers go, this is definitely better than Divide and Conquer, but not quite as good as How Long Is Forever, to me. Entertaining, compelling, and sets the stage very well for the rest of the season. Episode 2 is X, which sees the return of Red X, but this time it's not Robin, it's someone else. Though he still sounds like Robin, which is interesting and even hits on Star, but it's definitely someone else. The real Robin is there. He is not a hologram this time. Trust me, the Titans checked. They have a big fight with the new Red X in the opening. They don't fare so well, and he gets away. Robin feels responsible and reveals that he powered the suit with xenothium. First I've heard of it, but it's powerful. Man, what is with this season and introducing us to crazy new stuff with fancy names? The little tic-tac-toe game was hilarious. The guy who made the Red X suit is named Professor Chang. Guys, I am literally watching through Community for the first time, and that made me laugh so hard. Shout out, Senor Chang.
In Espanol, my nickname is El Tigre Chino.
That's amazing. Voiced by the great James Hong, by the way. In a fun twist, Chang actually kind of ends up being the main villain of the episode, sending his men to the site Red X was about to steal the xenothium from, getting it for himself, and capturing all of the Titans except for Robin in the process. Another twist, Red X shows up at just the right moment to help Robin stop Chang. Of course, he was really just trying to obtain the xenothium for himself, which he does, but Robin steals his belt. This one is full of surprises. I loved this episode for so many reasons. The action is awesome. The Robin vs. X 1v1 in the vault was particularly badass. It also showed how strong Starfire is. She stopped Rhino Beast Boy from falling and lifted him back on top of the building. We get introduced to another mysterious villain that we're sure to see more of in Red X, this one being Robin's creation, or at least that's what he tells himself. He created the mantle, but I'm sure this thief would have just taken on a different one and stolen stuff anyway. I highly doubt they only decided to turn to crime when the Red X mantle became available. Robin does shoulder a lot of the burden, though, a trait likely picked up from his adoptive father. He will likely carry that until Red X is caught. As great as last season was, Robin was kind of sidelined, and Fractured was a massive swing and a miss. I vaguely remember this season doing some interesting stuff with him. This definitely looks to be the start of that. This episode killed it on every level. I am so excited to keep going. Man, this season is killing it so far. Episode 3 is Betrothed, which is about Starfire going back to her home planet to get married to some rando, as per tradition, and she just drops this out of nowhere. The Titans go with her to see the wedding. Alrighty, they get attacked on the way there, which is not supposed to happen. Okay, I think it's hilarious that Star's former caretaker looks just like her, but male, giant, and has a beard. Turns out Star is a princess. That's awesome. Her people are pretty odd, though. Their traditions are pretty off-putting for us mere Earthlings. Holy shnikes, Blackfire is the queen. I certainly did not expect to see her again. And to get back at Star, she's making her marry some flubber elephant-looking thing. Brutal. I honestly didn't remember any of this, and I love that. Turns out Blackfire made a deal with the thing called Glurtle Sketch to give him Star in exchange for some powerful jewel. The trend of fancy stuff continues. Star thinks she has to go through with the marriage for the sake of peace, but it was all a ruse by Blackfire. I don't know why the hell anyone trusts her at this point. Robin climbs the frickin' tower to save Star. That's dedication, and dare I say, love? Like something out of a Disney movie. The Titans discover the deception, the wedding is off, the day is saved, and everyone lives happily ever after. Of course, after Star defeats Blackfire in a 1v1 for the throne. She then hands the throne over to her caretaker, Galfor. It would have been better if she made it a democracy, but Galfor seems pretty cool, so I'm fine with that. Plus, Star can return to Earth with the Titans. This is easily my least favorite of the 3 episodes so far this season, but it's still a pretty solid one. Blackfire is a cool character. It was fun to see her back. Star comes to realize she truly belongs on Earth with her newfound family, and she should get to pick her own husband. As far as Starfire-focused episodes go, it's certainly a massive improvement over Transformation from last season. Also, once again, Robin clearly likes her. I wonder if the show ever actually goes there. That's another thing I don't remember. It'll be fun to enjoy the ride either way. This season continues to kick ass. Up next is Crash. The setup for this one is Beast Boy tries to play video game on Cyborg's mainframe and accidentally uploads a virus. Cyborg starts acting all crazy, so they have to turn to the only person who can help, Gizmo. He has to shrink down to microscopic size and get injected into Cyborg's brain and ends up in his ass. So he has to make his way through his body with germ, or I guess snot, Beast Boy's help, while Cyborg goes around eating everything in sight and destroying stuff, and the remaining Titans try to stop him. Okay, this is kind of funny, not gonna lie. The virus core looks like something out of an old arcade game, which is weird, but kind of fun. Beast Boy is able to destroy it by multiplying, then Cyborg sneezes him and Gizmo out, but Gizmo is stuck in a snot bubble being chased by pieces of the virus. Fantastic. Look, this is a pretty dumb episode and easily the weakest of the season so far, but I had a good amount of fun with it. It's certainly better than the 3 I heavily disliked from last season. At least, unlike those, it's actually funny. I'm sure there are people that feel the opposite, but I never get tired of Gizmo. He's just so damn entertaining, and his hilarious vocabulary just keeps finding ways to expand.
Don't rush me, scuzz breath.
His journey through Cyborg's body with Beast Boy's help was pretty fun, as was Cyborg running around like a crazy man. It's another instance of Beast Boy's immaturity getting him into trouble. Juvenile? Absolutely. Lacking in development for the characters or larger story? Yes. But what can I say? I enjoyed it. Far from the worst this show has given us so far. Now we are on to Haunted, and oh man, have I been looking forward to this one. Just thinking about it gave me chills. This one, as the title suggests, is about Robin being haunted by Slade and the possibility that he could still be around, and the other Titans thinking he's crazy. Robin gets separated from the others during a fight with Cinderblock and sees Slade, who claims to have this big plan to create an earthquake by detonating seismic generators, which the Titans are unable to find because they're not there. Likewise, no one else is able to see Slade when Robin is. It certainly appears as if he's going off the deep end. From the Titans' perspective, Robin has them looking for generators that don't exist, and he's getting his ass kicked by himself. Out of concern for their friend, the other Titans subdue Robin for his and their safety, as well as to run some tests to figure out what's going on. All signs point to him losing it. That is until probably my favorite scene in the episode, where Raven is able to look inside Robin's mind and comes to the realization that Robin is actually seeing Slade. So what the hell is going on here? As it turns out, when Robin looked at Slade's mask in the beginning of the episode, it sprayed him with some kind of chemical agent that made him see, hear, and get beat up by Slade. That's not all, though. It didn't activate on its own. Someone triggered it from the outside, and the episode ends with Slade's mask lighting up again, teasing that he may actually still be out there. I know it might be crazy to put this ahead of Aftershock, but Haunted might be my favorite episode yet. It is an incredibly tense thrill ride from start to finish. The score was fantastic. The atmosphere was incredible. It's one of the most thematically rich episodes and has implications on the future and past. Of course, it was great to hear that haunting Ron Perlman voice again.
Relax, Robin. I'm not going anywhere.
And this was very trippy and surreal, almost Nightmare on Elm Street-esque, with a hint of Fight Club. They sort of took a break from the Robin being obsessed with Slade stuff last season to focus on the Terra storyline, which I think was justified, but they also picked the perfect time to bring it back. There is definitely some unresolved stuff there. Slade died pretty quickly, and Robin really had nothing to do with it. Plus, like he said, they technically can't be 100% sure he's gone. Slade has been an integral part of Robin's life for the entirety of the show, his number one motivator, the Joker to his Batman. Without Slade, who really is Robin? That's something he has to wrestle with. I wonder if part of Robin actually wants Slade to still be alive, so he has something to fight. The truth of the matter is, Robin was caught up on Slade before he was even sprayed with the chemical that just allowed him to physically manifest in Robin's head. This is also what it feels like to be gaslit. Sure, the Titans weren't doing that on purpose, but Robin truly could see Slade. This would have been a fantastic episode, even if it weren't for the tease at the end, but that adds another layer to this onion, a layer that we will have to wait to fully explore, and I love that. Haunted is an episode that does every single thing right, doesn't waste a single second, dives deeper into Robin's psyche than any other episode has, and even teases more. S+ tier in my mind. Coming off that high, we now have Spellbound, the first and really only Raven-focused episode of the season. This has a really cool cold open, which sees an ancient wizard fighting a huge dragon, which kind of looks like the dragon from Sleeping Beauty. It turns out to be a book Raven is reading, and they have to go on a mission before she can find out who wins the battle, which frustrates her. Man, I am liking her more and more. So relatable. Raven defeats the villain, or so we think, It's like a heart with a bunch of mechanical octopus-like arms so quickly that she can get back to the book, avoiding everyone else in the process. Honestly, I don't blame her. I would have been locked into that story too. Turns out the wizard, called Melchior, is actually stuck in the book. In him, Raven finally finds someone to talk to who truly understands her, and he teaches her new spells so that she can help set him free. And she's in the best mood she's been in a while, even changing outfits. It's jarring, but sweet to see her this happy. The heart octopus thing is back, though, and this time it has a little girl trapped inside of it. So the Titans have to be more careful, but Raven almost accidentally hurts her, not realizing the full danger of the spells she has been learning. Well. Melchior has been teaching Raven dark magic, and he was actually the dragon all along. He switched the names in the book. Raven was manipulated, essentially seduced into releasing him. Cool twist, though I did pick up on it about halfway through the episode, and I swear I do not remember this one at all. I was just getting a weird vibe from Melchior.
Good. There's just one more ingredient.
Raven is able to redeem herself by using a new curse she learned to trap Melchior back in the book. I've made it clear in my previous videos that Raven is my favorite character and that I'm a sucker for Raven-centered episodes. This is probably behind Nevermore and Fear itself for me, but not by much. I love the fantasy element, the twist is good, and the dragon looks really cool. I also love the exploration of Raven's loneliness. She's a very unique person and gets berated throughout the episode for being introverted and quote-unquote creepy, but weird is good. Different is good. Normal is boring. Maybe that's why I gravitate to her so much. Having a hard time fitting in is something that I can definitely relate to. This seeps into her mind so much, in fact, that she falls for a pretty obvious trick when she thinks that she found someone to relate to. Raven is a very smart character. That's not normally something she would do, but it makes sense given the context. If the Titans would have empathized with her instead of ostracizing her, none of this would have happened. Both Raven and the other Titans, especially Beast Boy, learn the important lessons here, and the hug between Beast Boy and Raven at the end was really heartwarming. Plus, we get some fun Cyborg and Beast Boy shenanigans with the stink bomb stuff, which Raven even joins in on at the end. This one definitely hit on pretty much every level I would want a one-off episode to, and the streak of great Raven episodes continues. Up next is Revolution, which sees the return of one of my favorite side villains, Mad Mod. His episode in Season 1 is probably my favorite pure fun episode of the show so far. This one takes place on July 4th, with everyone celebrating, but Mod takes over the TV stations and hypnotizes everyone in America, except the Titans, to forget the revolution ever happened. In case anyone hasn't watched the show and can't figure it out, Mad Mod is British. Classic, snobby, old British villain. The Titans find and try to stop him, but he uses the magic from his staff to steal Robin's youth, turning Robin old and himself young. So I guess Mod does actually have some real magic. Pretty sure it was all trickery last time. Mod also transforms the city or entire country, it's not entirely clear, into a black and white old-fashioned style Britain. Pretty wild, though I'm not entirely sure that it's utilized to its full potential. This is a solid episode. It passes the 20 minutes. It was fun to see Mad Mod back. I really liked the Titans trying to form a plan without Robin, which is not so easy. His presence was sorely missed. There is some fun, solid action and fun chase scenes. British Beast Boy is pretty funny, as is Starfire incorrectly putting the word "the" in front of everything.
We will rescue Robin and save the city and stop the Mad Mod.
But there's not much here in terms of emotional and thematic depth, character work, or furthering the overall story. Granted, the first Mad Mod episode didn't really do that either, but this one just lacks the it factor that one had. Probably because it doesn't do nearly as much with the visuals. The only thing here I really found fascinating character-wise is the fact that Robin was the key to defeating Mad Mod the first time around, and they did it almost entirely without him this time, though he does grab the wand and reverse the aging curse and makes things back to normal in the end. This certainly isn't an offensive episode, and it doesn't necessarily do anything wrong. It doesn't take any big swings and misses, but it doesn't do much to stand out either. It's just an enjoyable enough watch, and sometimes that's okay. They're not all going to be absolute bangers. Episode 8 is Wavelength, which is a pretty cool title. This sees the return of Aqualad and Brother Blood, who has a new fortress underwater, hence Aqualad getting involved. Blood has a... goddamn, another one of these things. sonic resonator capable of creating a tidal wave that could wipe out the entire city, with stolen Cyborg technology from when he was undercover. So Cyborg feels responsible, but he has to stay back to shut down the resonator while Aqualad and the other Titans go to stop Blood, an assignment he doesn't take kindly to. Blood knows they're there, though, and has Cyborg fight Hive member Bumblebee, who after a long and entertaining battle reveals herself to also be a spy working for Aqualad. She's pretty badass, too. Is it just me, or is there some sexual tension between them? It definitely seems like one of those they act like they hate each other, but they definitely want to bang situations. Again, though, it's a kid's cartoon, so they probably can only subtly hint at that kind of stuff. Beast Boy turns the force field off by turning into an electric eel, and the Titans stop the tidal wave just in time. But Cyborg gets his ass handed to him by Brother Blood, who has all kinds of crazy abilities. He's super strong and can move unnaturally fast, and he gets away once again. This was a pretty good episode that finally brought us back to what I assume is going to end up being the main plot line for the season: the Brother Blood and Hive stuff. Brother Blood is a pretty good villain. He's not Slade, but he can definitely carry a storyline in his own right. He's got a great screen presence, and we still don't know the full extent of his abilities. Looking forward to the conclusion to that story. We get introduced to a cool new character in Bumblebee. Her banter with Cyborg is great. The action was good here, especially the Cyborg versus Bumblebee fight, and I always enjoy the underwater stuff. We get a few more funny Starfire lines.
I believe I am grossed out.
And funny gags like Beast Boy getting flattened and his belt falling off. Not the deepest or most emotional episode, but an entertaining and relevant one that puts the train back on the track and has me looking forward to what comes next. And what's next is The Beast Within, which has nothing to do with the Brother Blood storyline, but it's pretty interesting. Beast Boy is sick of getting pushed around and not taken seriously, so he decides to become a badass. He's a known vegetarian, but decides to eat meat now, sleeps on the floor, works out like a maniac, and treats the others like crap. It's really jarring. This leads to him turning into some giant werebeast, seemingly permanently, and he kidnaps Raven and severely injures her. Turns out some chemicals that spilled on him during a battle in the cold open messed with his biology and turned him into this thing. This werebeast version of Beast Boy is a tough cookie, and he really has it out for Raven, or so we think. Twist! There are actually two werebeasts. One is Beast Boy, and the other one is something else entirely. It's the villain from the cold open, Adonis. The chemicals messed with him too. He's the one who attacked Raven. Beast Boy actually saved her, and those two have a nice moment together at the end. I really enjoy their friendship, and I'm glad this season is further exploring it. They have very different personalities and clash a lot, but they really do care about each other. I enjoy this episode. I've said a few times that I haven't quite been able to connect to Beast Boy as much as I have the others, but this is his best solo episode yet. It's still not on the level of the Raven solos, but that could be my bias. It's pretty effective, though. On the surface, it seemed like a by-the-numbers, our friend turns into a monster and we have to stop them story, and it would have been pretty effective if it were just that, but having another beast in there set itself apart a bit. Beast Boy is the goofball of the group, and he gets picked on a lot for that, but that's also part of his charm and helps balance things out. He is also a serious threat on his own if he wants to be, and this episode shows that. A very solid standalone that does what it needs to. Episode 10 is Can I Keep Him? We see Johnny Rancid again in the cold open, which is cool. He's a pretty fun villain despite being in one of the worst episodes of the show in Fractured. He was the best part of that episode for sure. He gets away and the Titans come back to see the tower completely trashed. Turns out Beast Boy has been keeping one of Killer Moth's larvae as a pet called Silky, and that's what did it. He gave him to Star so she can take care of him and keep the secret, and she becomes so attached to him, but he keeps getting exponentially bigger every time he eats, and then he eats Cyborg's leg. This one is goofy, and then gets sad for a minute when Star has to give Silky away, and he falls back into the hands of Killer Moth as a huge, fully formed moth. Wait, did Silky just eat Johnny Rancid? Like, is he dead? That's wild if they actually did that. Never mind, he's alive. I kind of figured. After a long fight with the Titans and Star and Killer Moth fighting over him, Silky seemingly blows himself up, but actually just returns to baby size. This almost took a very dark turn, but returns to being pretty sweet at the end. This isn't exactly high art here, but it's a really cute episode. Certainly better than Every Dog Has His Day, for example. This one much better accomplishes what that one was seemingly going for. It's pretty funny at times and surprisingly sincere as well, with Star's caretaker relationship with Silky. It's interesting that this ended up becoming more of a Starfire-focused episode when it seemed like it was going to be a Beast Boy one. Star continues to be so sweet and unintentionally hilarious. Unintentionally from her standpoint, not the writers. Clearly they knew what they were doing. We get to see two cool returning villains in Killer Moth and Johnny Rancid. There's essentially no depth and complexity, but of the more silly, kiddie episodes, this is definitely one of the better ones. Episode 11 is Bunny Raven, or How to Make a Titan Animal Disappear. Good God, man, that is a long title. Birds of Prey has some competition. Here we see the return of magician villain Mumbo from the first season, once again voiced by the great Tom Kenny, aka SpongeBob SquarePants.
I know just the trick to take care of you.
Mumbo sucks all of the Titans into his hat and turns Raven into this little bunny, hence the title. Mumbo plans to use her for his next trick inside of his hat, where they all are, but he's also in there wearing his hat. After a ton of humiliations, the Titans are able to beat Mumbo at his own game. Raven uses her magic to make them look invisible, and Mumbo opens her cage. In the end, she was a better magician than him. Of the goofy, shallow episodes, this is in competition for my favorite one yet. It's just about as funny as Date with Destiny and has the memorable whimsy of Mad Mod. We only got a small glimpse of Mumbo in Season 1. We get the full Mumbo experience here. He's a very eccentric and entertaining villain. He even has his own Disney villain-esque song and dance number, which should annoy me, but I loved it.
With just a wave of his magic wand, he's master of your
The episode really makes good use of the limitless nature of being inside Mumbo's hat, and it's filled to the brim with great moments that stick out, like Beast Boy on the wheel, the cup trick, turning the Titans into animals. Oh, I get it. That's where the second part of the title comes from. The fight against the gloves, and the crowd of Mumbos of all ages, shapes, and sizes. It also has some of the funniest dialogue in the show, with so many great meta lines describing the ridiculous situation they found themselves in.
We're trapped in a hat being manhandled by gloves. What next?
I call it the Roman Pierce. This one was really firing on all cylinders. Not deep, just really fun, memorable, and rewatchable. If the finale delivers, this could easily be the best season yet. It's certainly already the most consistent. And we have made it to the season finale, Titans East Part 1 and 2. This is where the Brother Blood storyline finally comes to a head. I do wish there was more of a build-up though. He's only been in 2 episodes till this point. Okay, Cyborg singing his own version of the Teen Titans song is hilarious and wonderfully meta.
You know what to do. Call Cyborg.
He's making the long drive to meet up with Aqualad, Bumblebee, Speedy, and Mas Imenos, aka Titans East, hence the title, to help take down Brother Blood. I don't think we've seen Masi Menos before. They're these 2 little Spanish-speaking super twins who operate like 2 halves of a battery, going really fast, but only when touching. Their tower is a mess, as is their teamwork, both of which Cyborg tries to fix. Together, they defeat a Hivebot, but it was a trap by Blood to get the encryption key to Titan's East Tower, and it gets attacked by an army of fully robotic cyborgs created by Blood, probably because he got Cyborg schematics. We continue to see the consequences of that. Despite the Titans getting them back, he, as a surprise to no one, has a photographic memory. Part 1 takes place almost entirely at Titan's Tower East, and it's good, pretty enjoyable. The action is solid, and it sets the stage well for Part 2. A decent amount of time is spent kind of screwing around, which I guess is okay for a 2-parter. It also serves to set up the fact that Cyborg wants to stay with Titans East, which he decides at the end of Part 1. After fending off the Hive attack, it is revealed that the Titans East members are mind-controlled and working for Brother Blood. That's actually a really good twist. I did not see it coming at all. I was wondering where this was going to go when they all seemed okay, and I thought they all got captured before. Man, this Brother Blood guy is always one step ahead. Even when it seems like he may have lost, he always has a backup plan. He also has Professor Chang under his control, which can't be good. As part 2 begins, the blood-controlled Titans East don't spend a ton of time keeping up the charade as they pretty quickly reveal themselves and capture Cyborg. Blood has robotic parts now to be more like Cyborg. Okay, so that's what he had Chang doing. The main Titans come to the rescue at just the right time. Star rips Cyborg's restraints right off, once again showing off her strength. Wait a minute. How come Blood couldn't control Bumblebee before, but he can now? Unless I missed it, I don't think they explained that. Also, he can teleport now? Holy crap. I really love how Cyborg uses his knowledge of his own technology, the Titans East, and the Tower to his advantage and lead to victory in the end. He uses the knowledge of how he sees to slip past the Cyborg army. He helps the main Titans fight the Titans East, and he's able to defeat Brother Blood by using his fighting spirit and hacking into Blood's brain when Blood was trying to hack into his. Alright, that's a little underexplained, but that doesn't really bother me. I'm guessing that wouldn't have worked if Blood hadn't gotten the cybernetic enhancements. I'm choosing to believe that because it's pretty poetic. His own arrogance and lust for power was his downfall. That's the same problem many hyper-intelligent villains, such as Lex Luthor, for example, often run into. This was a very solid finale, bringing the Brother Blood storyline to a satisfying conclusion. There is some good action throughout. Cyborg takes center stage, and I love everything they did with him here. He is an invaluable member of the team, and you can understand his desire for change, butting heads with Robin and wanting more of a leadership role, but he ultimately knows where he belongs. Brother Blood was an effective villain that was both a physical and intellectual threat. It was cool to see Aqualad, Bumblebee, and Speedy again. Mas y Menos are really fun. Them both having a crush on Star at the end and fighting over her was so funny. Also, is it just me, or does the Mas y Menos running sound effect sound like something out of Star Wars? This finale does a lot of things right, but it's easily the weakest of the three so far. It just lacked the stakes and emotional weight of the season 1 and 2 finales. Not having Slade there is certainly part of that. No one can live up to him. The stakes on paper should have been high, but we never quite felt it as much as we should have. I mean, sure, Cyborg threatens to leave the main Titans and stay with Titans East, and he and Robin get into it, but that was very brief, and we knew it wasn't real. It also doesn't have anywhere near the emotional impact of Aftershock, which, yes, is an extremely high bar, but this can't help feeling tame in comparison. I want to reiterate, this is not a bad finale by any stretch. It's quite good. It's just not as mind-blowing as the first 2 finales. It's about on par with the rest of the season. And it was a season that pretty consistently delivered quality stuff throughout. Just didn't end with a bang that a finale should. Bleeding that right into my final thoughts, Teen Titans Season 3 is to me easily the most consistently good season yet. But aside from Haunted, it doesn't come particularly close to hitting the highs of the Terra storyline in Season 2, or even the Robin and Slade stuff in Season 1. Unlike Season 2, though, which, as stated in the opening, had several misses, I didn't dislike a single episode this season. Even the goofier, lower quality episodes like Crash or Revolution, I was able to get a good amount of enjoyment out of. It's probably the least focused season, as Brother Blood is only in 4 episodes, including the 2-part finale. It felt more episodic, which I honestly don't mind. The first 2 seasons of Justice League were like that, and I love it. If the episodes are good, I don't really mind the episodic nature, and in this season, they are. I already mentioned the low points, which were still pretty enjoyable. Betrothed is an entertaining episode that finally sees the return of memorable and charismatic villain Blackfire, as well as has a nice little arc for Starfire. The Beast Within is like Teen Titans' version of a werewolf story with a twist. Can I Keep Him is a surprisingly sweet and sincere woman and her dog story, though I do wonder if we'll ever see Silky again. Star did keep him after all. And of course, the goofy standout, the mad mod of this season, is clearly Bunny Raven. It's just so much fun from start to finish, one of the funniest and most unique episodes yet. If I ever find myself feeling down and in need of a pick-me-up, which happens quite often, I know which Teen Titans episode to watch. 2 one-offs in particular really stood out to me in in this season, though, and for my money, are the two best episodes in this season, which is a first. Normally, the main episodes are my favorites. Those are X and Haunted. Interestingly enough, they both explore Robin's past, the consequences of his decisions, and the implications on the present and future. But neither are followed up on in this season. We'll have to wait a bit longer. In season 1, Robin, out of desperation to find out what Slade was up to, created the alter ego of Red X to pretend to be Slade's ally and get closer to him. Of course, it didn't work, and Robin tossed the Red X persona away. Little did he know, someone else would pick it back up down the line and use it in their criminal acts. The episode ends with us having no idea who this person is, and we never see them again for the rest of the season. Now, for the sake of transparency, I am pretty sure I remember how the Red X saga ends, but I can't wait till the next time we see them again. Haunted was on a whole nother level entirely. It is quite possibly my favorite episode of the entire show. Even in his absence, Robin's obsession with Slade has not dissipated. He is in his very soul, tormenting him. Sure, the gas is what caused Robin to hallucinate, but Slade was already on his mind. Robin just cannot accept the fact that Slade is gone, or he doesn't want to. I think it's a combination of both. Robin knows how savvy Slade is, and they never did see a body, but he also genuinely doesn't know what to do without his rival. He feels empty and unmotivated. But, as the ending revealed, Slade may actually be still around in some form or fashion. Both episodes do a fantastic job of diving into Robin's psyche while also teasing the future. I'm glad Robin got to shine here again a little bit, because he got significantly sidelined in Season 2, and his obsession with Slade was almost put on the back burner. I think that's probably a good thing, though, for the sake of this season and Haunted in particular. If Haunted had come off the back of Season 1, I'm not sure it would have been as effective. They'd really be beating a dead horse, and it might have grated on our nerves. But, after pulling back on it a bit, it was the perfect time to come back and remind us, and him, that no, Slade is still taking up a ton of space in his mind. He's still carrying a ton of baggage from his experiences with Slade and his creation of Red X, neither of which have come even close to a resolution yet. Unfortunately, Robin's potential romance with Starfire doesn't get built out much this season. He clearly didn't want her to get married off and betrothed, but that felt more like he didn't want to lose her as a friend and part of the team than anything else, with maybe a little bit of romantic teases in there. My opinion of the show won't be affected either way by where they go with that, and I know they're usually hesitant to go romantic routes with kids' cartoons, but I still would like to see a little bit more there. They clearly set it up. Robin does go at it with Cyborg again, and their rivalry sort of comes to a head in the finale. Robin is the de facto leader of the Titans, but Cyborg is a great leader in his own right, and really enjoyed leading Titans East. I wonder if the dynamic will change at all going forward. They both have great leadership qualities and balance each other out really well. They should focus less on titles, and both take charge when the situation calls for it. Not just them, but the others as well. Robin's voice actor Scott Menville continues to bring it. Cyborg is, for all intents and purposes, the main character of this season. He was already a favorite of mine, but Season 3 gives him so much more to do than the first two did. The main villain of the season is intrinsically tied to Cyborg. The season begins with Cyborg going undercover to infiltrate Brother Blood's new High Villain Academy, which leads to Blood obtaining Cyborg's blueprints, allowing him to create new headquarters, a seismic cannon, an army of cyborgs, and cybernetic enhancements for himself. Almost everything Blood is able to do this season is because of his fascination with Cyborg, and Cyborg feels responsible for all of it, and has a personal vendetta against Blood. Sound familiar? This is the second time one of the Titans had a personal connection to the main villain, of course Robin and Slade being the first. This season highlights not only the dangerous potential of Cyborg's technology if it falls into the wrong hands, but also the true value he brings to the team. For one, he is an excellent fighter and holds his own against 4 blood-controlled heroes at once. He's also very smart, knowing exactly when to use his technology and when to use his human intuition, striking the perfect balance and perfectly adapting to each given situation. He also knows the flaws in his technology, which gives him an advantage over Brother Blood, who is a beginner. Most importantly, though, Cyborg is incredibly resilient. He has all of his limbs ripped off, the other Titans are subdued, but he still finds a way to defeat Brother Blood. He never gives up and is driven by a desire to protect his friends and save the world, whatever it takes. Qualities that a villain like Blood, who is driven by greed and arrogance, will never have or understand. The writers and Carrie Payton really took Cyborg to the next level this season. There was a giant Slade-sized hole felt this season. That is undeniable. Brother Blood is no Slade, and I think the creators knew that, but he is still a very interesting and effective villain in his own right, who is able to set himself apart and stake his claim as another Teen Titans great. From the very beginning, he is established as a very intelligent, savvy, and powerful person, but we have no idea what the true extent of those powers are. He's very ambitious, constantly expanding his knowledge and skill set, and seems to have a way out of every situation. But in the end, his ambition was his undoing, as he was not entirely aware of the full capabilities and downfalls of Cyborg's technology. Blood is voiced wonderfully by John DiMaggio, who is able to bring that confident, sophisticated energy to the character. Brother Blood never quite gets under your skin like Slade does. He won't haunt your nightmares, but he did feel like a legitimate threat to Cyborg and the Titans. There were times where you couldn't help but wonder how the hell they're going to defeat him. You know they will in the end, but you don't know how, and that's the fun part. The Brother Blood storyline was the main storyline of the season, and despite only 4 episodes focusing on it, the intrigue is built from the season premiere, so you know what's going on and that they're going to get back to it at some point. That story and Brother Blood as a villain never really has the looming presence that Slade does, but it's still entertaining and does the job. There are 3 Titans I have not mentioned yet, and they were not quite given as much to do as Cyborg and Robin were. As stated, Cyborg was the main character of the season, and Robin got a ton of development with X and Haunted. I have stated in previous videos that Raven is my favorite character, and that is probably still true, though Cyborg is really close now. Raven has only had 1 focus episode each season so far, though based on what I hear, that is about to change in a big way. This season, her focus episode is Spellbound, which is my least favorite of the 3 so far, but still very good. Despite being around the Titans for a while now, Raven still feels like an outsider, a weirdo, and because of that, she lets her guard down when someone makes her feel vulnerable. It really is a great commentary on the importance of having empathy for people and treating them well, even if they exhibit behaviors that you may not consider normal. That message is especially for Beast Boy, a lesson he appeared to learn as the 2 make up at the end of the episode in a really sweet way. I guess you could say she's the main character in Bunny Raven. She is the title character after all, but it's a gimmick, a fun one, don't get me wrong, but there's no real development there and she has the least amount of screen time. I still find Raven to be the most fascinating and relatable character on the show, and I can't wait to dive deeper into her as a person next season. Tara Strong is just wonderful. I couldn't imagine anyone else voicing this character. Beast Boy was essentially the second main character last season after Tara, as the relationship was the heart of the season. Beast Boy is mostly just there this season. He's not given much to do outside of the Beast Within, which gives a glimpse into what a serious, angry, uptight Beast Boy would look like, and it's not pretty. It also shows how truly dangerous he is capable of being. He is sort of presented as the main character in Can I Keep Him, but as I stated earlier, it shifted to Starfire pretty quickly. I do really wish they would have explored Beast Boy's feelings in the aftermath of the Terra story. She is not mentioned once in this season, which I found very odd. She was an integral part of their lives, especially Beast Boy's. I'm sorry, I just don't buy that he would not still be talking or thinking about her at all. They could have done some really interesting stuff there, but chose not to, which is frustrating. I do like Beast Boy, and Greg Sipes is awesome, but he is still definitely my least favorite Titan. Starfire, despite not having a crazy amount of depth, continues to be a favorite of mine. She's just so sweet and charming and continues to try really hard to fit in and understand the vernacular of humans.
You have been somewhat lobstery lately.
Her putting the in front of everything, especially villain names such as the Mad Mod or the Brother Blood, is easily my favorite running joke throughout this season, and she is so unintentionally funny. I couldn't tell you how many times I laughed out loud this season because she says things slightly wrong. She is an absolute gold mine for quotability. Her naivete is taken advantage of in Betrothed, as she gets tricked into marrying someone she doesn't even know under false pretenses, but she comes comes through in the end and comes to the realization that her place is on Earth with the Titans, and if she were ever to marry someone, she should probably get to know them first. Star taking care of and forming an attachment to Silky was absolutely adorable. It worked so much better than it should have because of Star's sincerity and Hynden Walch's wonderful voice acting. She may not be the deepest or most complex character, but I can never get enough of Starfire. Also, as mentioned, she's as strong as an ox. The thematic resonance that was so strong in the first 2 seasons carried over to this one as well, and unlike season 2 where pretty much all of the meat was on the Terrebone, it's much more spread out here. X explores Robin's guilt and regret, Haunted explores his fears and insecurities, Spellbound is about acceptance, loneliness, and sense of belonging, The Beast Within is about bitterness and repressed anger, Can I Keep Him is about love and companionship, Betrothed is about personal choice and where you belong, and of course, the Brother Blood storyline explores deception, arrogance, the pros and cons of ambition, revenge, and trust. The others aren't about much, but are fun nonetheless, and that is better than trying to be about something and failing spectacularly, like a few episodes last season did. I mentioned this in my Season 1 video. Teen Titans is a show that can be watched for pure entertainment purposes or watch for deeper meaning, which is why it appeals so well to both children and adults alike. That trend continues in Season 3. I already mentioned the voice acting of the main 5 and Brother Blood, but the casting for this show is just so perfect. The huge standout here was the great Tom Kenny returning as Mumbo, perfectly capturing the eccentric nature of the best side villain of the season. So glad we got to see more of that character. We get introduced to James Hong as Professor Chang here, who is just awesome. Greg Ellis brings the seemingly altruistic but secretly malicious vibe to Melchior. Malcolm McDowell returns and is once again delightful as Mad Mod. Henry Rollins and Mark Warden return as memorable villains Johnny Rancid and Killer Moth, respectively. Lauren Tom kills it as Gizmo again. And of course, Hynden Walch perfectly pulls off double duty again when she voices Blackfire. It's wild how well the animation has aged. I continue to fail to find a single flaw. It looks incredible on Blu-ray especially. Haunted, Spellbound, and Bunny Raven in particular look incredible and do stuff with the animation that we hadn't seen yet. The music fits every scene so well. Haunted in particular I think had the best score of any episode in the show yet. The technical stuff is secondary to me to the story and characters, but looking and sounding good never hurts, especially in animation. In closing, Teen Titans Season 3 is very good. It continues the technical brilliance, surface-level entertainment, humor, character work, and deep themes that the first 2 seasons had. It may not hit the highs that Season 2 did with the Terra storyline, but it maintains an incredible level of consistency that makes it a very easy watch. Every episode was at least watchable, while others were elevated by great character work or exploration of themes. I think if I was to rate every episode, then average each season out, this would probably rate the highest. However, if I could only watch one Teen Titans story for the rest of my life, it would be the Terra one for sure. This was a very good season of TV that had a lot going for it, and depending on how you define or measure it, is probably my favorite season of the show yet. I know there's a lot of good stuff coming in Season 4 though, and I can't wait to dive in. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I love you, truly. I will ask that if you are able, please check out my Patreon to see if anything appeals to you. Even the tiniest amount of help would go a very long way. I am open to suggestions on the tiers and benefits. If you can't do that, though, I completely understand, but please like. Likes are so important for helping me grow my channel, getting more eyes on my videos, and increasing the chances that I continue to do more videos like this. It is free and takes literally a second. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on Teen Titans Season 3. If you are interested in seeing what I do in the future, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. Again, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for some more fun content, and I will see you soon.